Hey there guys, and in this video I'm going to be showing off the dual Krohkurs. And these weapons, if you haven't used them yet, or at least like tried to get them or seen anything about them, I'm just going to say quickly, these are probably one of my most favorite weapons in the whole entire game. Very close behind, the Case of War, and they're just really good. So I recommend if you haven't got them yet, or if you're just looking at the video to see what they like, or see a build that I made for it, you can see if you want to get them or not. I would recommend getting them because they're really good. They're really fun. They're just so fun to do, especially with the Let's go and have a check. Especially with the stance crossing snake. It's so fun. You literally jump between targets. Like it's just amazing. Again, when I say it's like the stance is really fun. Again, you can use any other dual sword, but I think doing with the Krohkurs is pretty fun because they look amazing. They just feel really good, with all the stats they have on them, and I just really recommend it because they're just really cool. So yeah, let's actually get into the build for the edge weapon now. We're already here, so usually when I do that I'll hop into the build, but we're already here, so let's talk about it. So let's first talk about the stats I have, and I was going to quickly go to my empty config and show all the added stats I have, all the added stats I have on from the base weapon. So as you can see, the first thing you can see is that I've put on Fury to increase the speed to about 1.19. This is again not the fastest. Especially with these kind of weapons, it doesn't really feel fast. Again, some weapons when I have a 1.19 or something close to it, they feel pretty it feels fast. It feels very fluid when you are in the attack. You're on a combo kind of thing. But this weapon, it feels kind of slow at the start, but again, it's doable. If you don't like slow weapons like I do, I would recommend putting on Berserker to increase the attack speed to about as you can see. If you know what Berserker does, it basically every single time you get a critical hit, it increases by your attack speed increases by 30%, and this maxes out at 75. So once it's 75, which is about, you have to hit like a critical hit like 3 times, and then it pretty much maxes out. With these weapons, it maxes out pretty much straight away. Again, it's kind of just like an RNG kind of thing where you'll be attacking enemies and you'll get like straight to 75. The maxing is straight away. You get this straight away, but sometimes you'll go and attack another enemy and you won't even they won't even proc at all. It just kind of depends. Especially the Krohkurs, it's maybe like 1 out of 8 times. You're going to or maybe 2 out of, you would say probably 2 out of 10 times. You're going to not actually proc anything, which is still pretty good. Some weapons it's like 10 out of 10 times. It's just crazy how quickly they can proc. But this weapon, once it gets to the maximum speed you're able to get with a Berserker, it's very good. You literally just drill into enemies. Your attacks is going all over the place. It can get really crazy when using this weapon. And so increasing attack speed, I would recommend if you're going to make your own build. I would recommend if you have Berserker, putting Berserker on. I would definitely recommend you putting Fury on for this weapon, as you can see, the base stats is 0.917. Again, most people, from what I've heard, and also what I recommend, if a weapon is under 1, it's recommended that you put attack speed mode because that's quite slow. But again, if you like slow weapons, or if you're like one of those weird people that do like slow weapons, you can put it on if you want. I would recommend putting a speed mod on. I haven't done anything with channeling because I don't really like channeling. It's just something I don't really care about, so I never really build for it. We got critical chance, which is at 30.4%. Very high. This all extremely high. This is being increased with true steel. Yes, true steel. And that's pretty high. This weapon is built for critical chance. So this is probably the best build you can use for it. But again, saying that, a critical build, especially with Blood Rush, it's a charge up kind of thing. It takes a bit to get to its full potential. Well, not its full potential, but it's kind of like takes it to your full potential they're going to get realistically most of the time, because you're not going to get to your maximum potential of like getting to your combos to like four times or any of that kind of stuff. Most of the time you're going to be getting to 2.5, and that's pretty much the best you're going to get for most of the time. So that's not what you're going to get. I feel like, and also saying that, I feel like a crit build is also probably the best. Again, I have right now I have a status build. It does more damage straight up, but my critic build for the twin Kroger, it by the time you get to the 2.5, it over by the time it like charges up, it overtakes it. And you do a lot more damage. It's the only thing is that it takes a bit to charge up for that to actually happen. So I'll put up my status build later. I don't know exactly when, but I'll do that eventually, and you can watch that. You can put it up. But actually, I'll show you quickly. So I put Fury, weapon rounds. I think I put Blast and Toxin, kind of stuff. Blast and Corrosivon, those are the two ones I chose. In the video I'll explain later. And that's pretty much it. I'll just show you that quickly if you do want to do that. But this is what I do recommend. Very good. If you don't have any of these, like Berserker or Drifting Contact or Blood Rush, this build is probably going to be easier for you to actually build for, except for it has Drifting Contact in it, but you can probably switch it out. That build is probably easier to build for. But if you do have these mods, highly recommend, very good, would recommend you get it. Then we have the critical chance, which gets to 3.2 times, very good. You are proccing crit, your critical hit multiplier, critical hits constantly. It's yellow all the time. I see it sometimes once it gets to about 3 or 2.5. I think actually 2.5. You see it. It will you will start getting what was it, orange hits, like hit bars. And that's ridiculous. I've only gotten a couple weapons like the Atarax when it's at its full potential. That gets like orange and like a couple oranges and occasionally reds. But and like saying that the Atarax is like one of the best, one of the best melee weapons. So but one of the best melee weapons for a crit build. So saying that's pretty good for a twin Kroger to do this, start proccing orange, crit things, pretty regularly. So it's pretty good. Then we got leap damage, wall, leap damage, wall attack, and spin attack. I wouldn't really care about spin attack, or I don't know. Sorry, I would care about spin attack, wouldn't care about leap attack, and wouldn't care about wall attack. Mainly being that leap attack, you only would really do it when you're first going into the battle. When you're like saying if you're just doing the bullet jump thing across the map, or I think it's called like bomb spin. I don't know. It's got a name. I forgot the name. But if you're doing like when you twirl through the air, and then you see a group of enemies, and then you can just leap into them and then do extra damage. You can do that if you want. But most of the time you're not going to be doing it. It's not going to be something you're going to be incorporate into your the way you use your melee weapons, the way you fight with melee weapons. Most of the time you won't really. Same with wall attacks. You barely ever wall run. Most people I never see wall run. Some people do it. I don't know why. It's kind of useless, and there's no point in my opinion. And spin attacks is something you will care about because it's something that you're going to use a lot with something you're going to implement into your playstyle, the way you use melee weapons, because especially with with like staves or pole arms or dual swords, you're going to be spinning a lot. Mainly because you're going to be spinning between targets. If your target is like a far better way, you want to spin to them, or you want to slide to them, and then you can spin to them once you get near them. It's just something you're going to do a lot. So having a weapon like the twin Krogers having extremely high spin attack at like naturally 420, and with this having it 924, very good. I would recommend if you are just straight up damaging an enemy to crouch or spin constantly, because you're going to be doing extra amount of damage, and you just do it pretty much. Just as you can see, you do extra damage with it. You literally it will add like I wouldn't say it doubles your attack, but like around like 1.5 extra damage. Like it's really good. It's just so good. I would recommend spinning. That's I'll show you like the way I kind of use these weapons, but spinning recommended, and just pretty much for most weapons to spin. Spin to win, as people would say, and that's pretty much it. Then we got the attacks. As you can see, if you watch my videos, you will know that I don't really oh no, if you watch a video, sorry, I said that wrong. If you watch my videos, you'll see that I always have corrosive on my build nearly every single time. If it's not corrosive, it's always blast. I always have some form of secondary element onto my builds because I just love them. I usually have blast in my melee weapons because blast is so useful for melee weapons, especially with the what is it? The extra, like your execution attack, because when they're on the ground, you can proc an execution attack where you just lunge on them and you can do just heaps of damage. And especially with my config big, my status build, when you knock them over with blast, you can literally, if the health is like, once it gets, if it's like 3/4 health, you can literally just one shot them. It's just so good. Blast is very good. Recommend if you do want to put blast on. Very recommended. But that's not what I normally do. But you can see in this build, I haven't put it on because didn't really find that much space for it. But I don't know. You can do that if you want. You can probably switch out reach or something. You can switch out reach and true steel if you so want to put on corrosive or blast if you want to do that. But I kind of like having true steel on because it's probably best to just go full on with the crit on this build. You can kind of be like on the mix. You can have a mix between status build and status and secondary element build, and having crit. But I feel like this weapon is just leans towards crit a lot more. I feel like you should just go full on with crit and just have just crit straight onto it. But again, you can do whatever you want. This is just recommendations. I'm just recommending to you what to do. You don't have to do this if you want to. And just gonna talk about the damages. As you can see, the slash is what's mainly really high, like 107 compared to 27 and 18. Very good. This is very good. Slash is probably the most powerful damage. Again, when the update comes out, that's probably gonna change, but it's really good. You're going to do high amounts of damage with this weapon, and it's just really good. That's pretty much it. Let's have a look at the mods that I've put onto here. Now, I've talked about a couple of them, so I won't talk about these two and probably here because I've already talked about them. But we'll talk about drifting contact first, because if you know what drifting contact is, it basically the main reason people have it on the builds is it's kind of good for the status chance. It's kind of useful. Not specifically for this build because we have no status or elements, secondary elements or any elements on this build, so it's kind of useless. There's no need for it. But the increase in the combo duration is very important because this build is heavily reliant on having combos, because we have Blood Rush on, which basically every single time your combo multiplier goes up, which is the little multiplier times in the bottom of the screen when you have your weapons in hand. Every single time that goes up by 0.5, that would pretty much mean that your critical chance will go up about 120%, which is double true steel, which is already bringing it to about 30.4%. Which if 60% is bringing up to 30.4%, which is pretty high, which is about like I don't know, about like 11. That's probably going to be adding about like 22 every single time it goes up by 0.5, and it goes, and most of the time, realistically, most of the time you're going to be fighting, it's going to be going up about 3 times, because most of the time I usually get to about 2.5, sometimes 3 if I keep my if I play strategically and I go to certain groups so that my length without hitting enemies isn't that long. You can literally get to about 3, maybe 3.5 if you're lucky. Very rare, but you can do that. But it will pretty much just increase your critical chance, which means you're going to be proccing critical hits a lot more, which means you're going to be pretty much just doing more damage overall, and you're going to be killing enemies quicker, and it's just really good. And also talking about that, how with the critical multiplier, that adds onto the critical multiplier up here. So saying if you have 2.5 times, that's going to be adding to the 3.2 you already have up here. So that means that you're going to be increasing, with the combos, you're also going to be increasing your critical chance, but at the same time, so you're basically going to be increasing your critical chance, which is going to basically proc your critical multiplier a lot more often, and because the combos are also going up, it's going to be increasing how much damage you do when you proc critical multipliers, critical hits. So that pretty much means you're going to be doing more damage, and you're going to be doing that more damage a lot more often, which is just really good. So it's very important to keep your combo number high, and to keep it so like you can build it up, you can keep it for as long as you can, which is why we have drifting contact on, because it literally adds 10 seconds on to about like 3 seconds that you have. Because if you don't hit enemies constantly, naturally your combo is just going to go in for like 3 seconds. It's extremely quick. But with drifting contact, it goes to about like 13 seconds. If you have body count, you can probably put that on if you want. You can switch out true steel or reach if you want to. And I haven't maxed it out because I don't use it. I just mainly use drifting contact. But it looks like it's going to be about, I don't know, like 7 or something. Again, I'm not going to do the math. I could probably figure it out, but I'm too lazy to think about it. And let's continue talking about this. So having drifting contact is very important. It basically gives you it basically allows you so that you can keep your combos up a lot more and a lot more regularly and for a lot longer, and having combos up is very important for Blood Rush, and I just said the reasons why. And it's just good. Having Drift in Contact would recommend, any combo build would recommend having it on. Reach, again, very important, means the range you're going to be hitting enemies is going to be increased. That means you're going to be hitting, with every swing, you're going to be hitting more enemies, if they're in the range. So very good. Then we have already talked about Fury. Organ Shatter. This basically increases the critical damage to about 3.2 times. Very good. Again, you could probably deal without this because you're going to be getting those you're going to be getting up those combo multipliers. You're going to be getting at those combo multipliers. That should be good enough. They'll probably get it to about 3.2 times if you so want to, and you can probably switch it out with something else if you want to, maybe with body count, or just maybe you can switch out this and Reach and have like Blast on or Corrosive on, whatever you want. You can do whatever you want, but I like having Organ Shatter on because it increases your damage, your critical, and as talked about before, this weapon is very good for critical, so it's probably one of the best weapons for critical builds. So I kind of just want to go full into critical. I don't really want to I don't want to be in the middle of like having some mods for critical and some mods for focusing on status or secondary elements, like even say status. But you can do that if you want to. I would recommend keeping Organ Shatter because you're doing more damage, and as I talked about before, you're going to be proccing, critical hits a lot more. So it's probably good to have your critical damage doing as much as it can because it's gonna be proccing a lot more. So yeah. Then we have True Steel, which increases your critical chance to about 60%. Again, this is something you don't really need. It's just kind of just a helping hand. Blood Rush already does enough. You can easily take this off, and Blood Rush will easily just it really won't affect it. It's True Steel is like half of like one of the stacks that can come on. So again, it's kind of you don't need it, but I just kind of have it on because again, go full into going to go full into that to the crit building kind of stuff. So yeah, let's go have a little look-skis over how this weapon works. So I'm just gonna put 15 here. Normally I put 5, but I just felt going 15. My best as well. Okay, so enemies. So the best thing to go in is spin. As you can see, it's kind of building up. It's best thing to spin most time. As you can see already, 2.5 times at the bottom, right there. And as you can see, now I'm doing heaps of damage. The build up is very high. As you can see, I'm not spinning. Normally I would spin most of the time, but I was just showing off what it looks like without the spin. Also, as you saw before, with this naturally with just the normal hits, after a while you're going to what am I doing now? Huh. Well, before I don't know exactly how it procs, but usually when I'm hitting enemies, you will do like a lunge forward, and you will do extra damage and lunge through the enemy, and usually to the enemy next to you or the nearest enemy. So that'll probably be very helpful for you to do and use, especially with like big groups of enemies, because for example, you'll be hitting an enemy here, and you're about to kill him. You see this enemy over there, you will proc that like weird lunging thing, and then you'll jump over to here and start hitting him as well, doing damage and kind of stopping the time you would take to get there, and basically making your killing a lot more quicker. See, it's gonna get. Actually, I'm getting faster as I am proccing, Berserk. I'm trying to spin. Again, I don't really fall off the edge, so you can see that lunge there before I just showed. Oh, there you go. See, I don't really like doing it there because I always fall up when I do it here. As you can see, if you just do it singly on an enemy, you can just literally melt them because you're just pumping in this heaps and heaps of hits. That's why I'm going there. So that let's just set 5. Oh no, that's wrong. Go press backspace then 5. Okay, there you go. Simulate. Okay. Also to show what it looks like on Mirage. So again, I recommend using, if you're going to go into a game and you're just planning to just use melee, I would definitely recommend Mirage. I use Mirage a lot because just because of that fact. Because each one of these little duplicates you have, these little droppings is what they're called, I think. Each one of them can do damage themselves. Again, it's not the exact same amount of damage that you would naturally do. I think it's about half of your damage. I think that's correct. It's about half of the damage that you would do. But again, that's still doing damage on the enemies. So you could be focusing on an enemy here. You have like 5 here, and you could be damaging one here, and then you got little droplings or little duplicates damaging those ones over in the corner, and then by the time you kill this enemy, jump the other ones, they're already like half health or something. So it's very good. It increases your the possible range you have, and I would just recommend using Mirage when you're just using when you just planning to just use a melee weapon, because she's very good for that kind of fact. Okay, let's try it one more time and I'll show it off. Go full and try out this. Again, it's for the win. You can kind of crouch, you can do extra damage. There you go. There you go. So as you can see, it's kind of more of an RNG based kind of thing. See, I killed the enemy before. I didn't kill him as quickly as the enemy I just did after that. But again, saying that, I'm pretty sure my combo multiplier went up at the same time to about 2.5, so I was doing extra damage. But it seems like the combo multiplier wasn't the only thing that was doing extra damage. So it's kind of RNG based when using this weapon. Again, that's with most things in Warframe. It's very RNG based. Let's see, show off this one. You can so don't expect to do the exact same amount of damage every single time you're attacking an enemy. Skills one over here actually. It's very different reliant. Go, so I knocked out this enemy. Again, I don't have Berserker on this, so it's not as fast. But as you can see, you do a lot more damage. It's a lot bulkier, more heavy weapon. One, because I have crows on that. And as you can see, when you knock them over, you literally you can just do your execution attack and just pretty much one-shot them. So if you want to do a more damage, just straight up damage when you first attacking, this doing massive amounts of damage, I'll recommend the stats build I showed before. I'll make a video and talk about specifically why I have those specific mods on if you want to watch that. But if you just want to use that, you want to straight up damage, I'll recommend a stats build. If you want more of a combo build up kind of build where you do more damage overall, but again it's not straight up, it takes a bit to actually get to that point where you do a lot more damage, I'll recommend the crit build if you so want to do that. And yeah, I'm gonna end the video here. I'm just gonna say, if you liked the video, could you please leave a like. If you did dislike the video, could you please leave a dislike. Tell me why you disliked the video. Tell me what you disliked about it. Tell me if I said something wrong. Tell me if one thing I said about like a mod or something, or way I mod things, the way I do things is wrong. Tell me that in the description, and on the description. Tell me in the comments. I'll read it, and I want you to do that because I want to improve as a creator. I want to be better, and that's the best way to do it, is by getting criticism by other people. Make it civil down there, please. Don't insult me or something. That's just rude, But just make it civil. Tell me what I've done wrong, and I will try to improve as best as I can. So thank you for watching, and see ya.